So by going with the duplex and renting out half, you're able to save. Hey, I'm Cody Charnell, multifamily real estate broker here in Long Beach. And today we're going to be checking out a recently closed duplex. The address is 2276 Argonne. It's located here in the city of Long Beach. So whether you're in the market for a duplex already or you're in the market for a single family, I'm going to show you why you may want to consider a property like this. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so let's start off with the location. So as I mentioned, the address is 2276 Argonne. This property is located in a neighborhood called Artcraft Manor, which is just north of the traffic circle here. Basically, Artcraft Manor goes from Clark down to Stearns, kind of over basically to Redondo and then back up to Willow. So kind of this rectangle here. This is a really solid, nice middle-class neighborhood. Lots of duplexes and single-family homes in this area. I would say definitely a solid B location. Most of the properties in this neighborhood were built around the same time, like 1950s. So we'll see that as we check it out on Street View. But some highlights about the area. So you're close to the 405. You're also close to the airport, which is kind of a pro and a con. This long runway here is where commercial planes take off and land. So you're probably going to get a bit of airport noise here. Fun fact, the pilots actually use the pyramid at Cal State Long Beach here. So you can see the blue pyramid as a landmark. So they use the pyramid, fly directly over it and land. So you might end up getting a little bit of airport noise, but some good things about being by the airport are that they're really building out industry. So Boeing has sold off a lot of land around the airport and it's been developed into, you can see this shopping center here on the corner. This is called the Long Beach Exchange. So lots of new restaurants, shopping, entertainment. There's a new Whole Foods market here you can see on the map there, which they usually only build Whole Foods in really nice locations. You can also see these bigger kind of commercial looking buildings with the flat roofs. Those are all new office and warehouse space. So lots of aerospace companies have moved in. So you have companies like Spin Launch, Virgin Orbit. I know they've shot a few movies in warehouse spaces over here. And then coming to the other side of the airport, this large building used to be Boeing, but now it's Relativity Space. So they've leased over 1 million square feet of warehouse space, and they are 3D printing rockets here. So this is good news. This is lots of high-paying kind of engineering jobs close to the airport. You also have Mercedes, which has a new kind of like test and prep center here. So they have a huge building as well. Lots of storage actually for cars as well. So a lot going on there at the airport. You're not far from Cal State Long Beach, as I mentioned. So yeah, overall, a lot of good stuff close by, which bodes well for this property. If we look at it on Street View, you kind of see what it looks like. So one unit in front and one unit in the back there. It's located on a quiet residential street and you're right across from this nice green park. So location on this one is really solid. I would be happy to own a property in this area. I'd be happy to live in this area. So now let's talk a little bit about the property itself. So both of these units are going to be 2-bed, 1-bath. The total square footage of this property is 1716 square feet. So if we divide that by 2, the units are roughly 858 square feet each. 1949 construction. And like I mentioned before, lots of properties in this neighborhood are built similar era. You can see this duplex next door is basically a mirror image of the subject property. If we go down the street, we can see here's another duplex that looks almost identical. And yeah, I'm sure we'd find more if we kept on going. If we look at it overhead, you can see what the setup is like. So unit in front, like I mentioned, another 2-bed unit in the back. And then this is an attached 2-car garage. What I also like about this one is both of the units have their own private yards. So you can see On one side of the building here, there's a private yard, I'm guessing for the front unit, and then another private yard here for the back unit. Let's take a look at it from the alley. So you can see there's the garage, there's the backyard. And there's been a lot done to this property over the years. So new roof in 2008, new windows in 2014. Both water heaters were recently replaced. Each unit has laundry inside, which is a big deal. The rents on this one are decent. So right now they're getting $24.50 for one of the 2-bed units and $21.75 for the other. So market rent for a 2-bed unit in this location is closer to $2,800. So there is some upside in rents, but we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a minute. And because there is a 2-car garage here, you do have the option of converting this into an ADU or potentially renting it out for additional income. So some other upgrades that have been done, both kitchens have been fully redone. There's newer hardwood flooring, electrical, and plumbing in these units. So really, this is pretty much a turnkey property. I don't think you would have to do much to achieve those market rents of $2,800. And I think this would be an ideal property for somebody who wanted to owner occupy. And I'll show you the numbers on why I think that is. I also have a comparison, which we'll go through, which compares your monthly cost to live in this property versus a single family. So actually, let's jump into the numbers so we can take a look at my pro forma. All right, so I don't think I mentioned this. The asking price on this one was 1.1 million. It ended up closing at $1,075,000 and it went into contract within 14 days. So it was only on the market for a couple weeks. I'm doing this as a 25% down deal. Owner occupied rate would probably be around 6.25%. And if you've seen my other videos, I usually have expenses for things like property management, vacancy, other things that you want to account for with investment properties. But for this one, I'm going to approach it more as kind of bare bones, how an owner occupied buyer might look at it. And we're going to compare this to a single family home. So we're going to leave out a lot of the expenses that you wouldn't typically count when you're looking at a single family home. So you can see current rents here. Like I mentioned, $24.50 for one of the units, $21.75 for the other. So if I was going to move into this property, I would probably give notice to the lower paying tenant and move into that unit. That would allow you to basically keep the higher paying tenant, and you wouldn't have to make up as much of the difference yourself in the monthly payment. The other good thing about this is right now, until August 1st, you can raise rents 10% per year. So if this tenant has not received a rent increase this year, you could issue a 10% rent increase. After August 1st, it's going to drop down to 8.8% for the next 12 months. So still a really healthy rent increase. But if we were to increase rents by 10%, you would get this unit up to $26.95. So really just $105 off that market rent. And basically the following year, if you did a, let's say, 8.8% increase, you would actually be over market rents. So really probably don't have to budget to renovate that unit. I would expect that the tenant would probably stay with that rent increase. And then if you're seeing this, you're probably wondering why I have $34.58 for market rent in this unit. And I'm going to go through that. But basically, if you see the formula bar up here, it's $2,800 is the market rent plus $658. So that's how much additional rent that you would need to pay to basically cover the cost on this one and make it break even. So let me delete that for now, and we can go to the summary tab. So at $1,075,000, you're paying $626 a square foot, 19.3 times gross based on current income, and 16 times gross based on market rents. These metrics aren't used as frequently with duplexes, so don't really need as much here. And as you can see down, if we go to the expenses section, I've really only left in taxes, insurance, and gardening. And so when we compare this property to a single family, we can see kind of apples to apples what what the numbers would look like on the single family. And then using those expenses, here is our cash flow. So based on current income, if you were to keep both tenants paying what they're paying now, this property would be negative about $16.29 per month. But an owner occupant in reality is not going to do that. They're going to move into one of the units. If they were to move into the unit with a lower paying tenant, it would still be negative. Oh, sorry. If they were to move into the unit with the lower paying tenant and they were to increase the other unit up to market rent, this property would still be negative about $654 a month. So in order to get it to break even, someone would have to move into a unit and pay $34.58 a month just to make this property break even. So that's the break even point here. But some benefits with this one. So when you're buying a bigger property, you're going to make more from leveraged appreciation. So we do make a healthy amount from appreciation over the long run when we're holding on to this property. Not much in cash flow because living in this, we're only really going to pay what we have to make it break even. We do get some tax shelter benefits so we can depreciate the property, and then we are building up equity as you and your tenant are paying down the principal balance on the loan. Okay, so now let's take a look at a comparison. So I searched and I found a property in the same neighborhood. That's a 2-bed, 1-bath, single family home that is about half the square footage. So it's about 800 and some square feet. So it's comparable to how much living space you would get if you bought this and just lived in one of the units. But let me pull up that listing now. Okay, so here's the listing. As you can see, it's located pretty close. It's just on the other side of the freeway from the property that we were looking at. Went on the market at 800,000. It ended up closing for 780,000, and it was on the market for a similar amount of time. So 16 days versus 14 days with the duplex. And like I mentioned, 2-bed, 1-bath home, 854 square feet of living space, 6,200 square foot lot. So you're going to get a bigger backyard with this one. And it looks like the property is in great condition. You can see it here from the photos, really nicely staged. Kitchen looks like it's a little dated, but in good condition. And you can see bigger backyard here. You still get that 2-car garage, but overall a pretty comparable property. So what I want to show you is if you're in the market for a primary residence and you're considering a single family home, but you're wanting to keep your cost of living down, I think it's smart to consider a duplex. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the monthly payment on this property versus our duplex. Okay, so here are our numbers. On the left is the single family home at 2312 Cane Hill, and on the right is our subject property, the duplex, 2276 Argonne. So what you'll notice is I'm using different percentage down payments for these properties, but I want to show kind of apples to apples using the same down payment, what you could do. So if you had 215 down and you were looking at the single family home versus the duplex, here's what the numbers would look like. So loan amount on the single family, 565,000. Interest rate, similar, owner occupied loans, you're looking at around 6.25%. So for your monthly expenses, you're looking at principal and interest of 3481. You have taxes of 813, insurance 83, gardening 80, and your monthly payment is 4457. So no rental income on this one. So basically that is all your cost. If we come over to Argonne, we have a larger purchase price, smaller percentage down, larger loan balance, similar interest rate. Our principal and interest are going to be more. So we're looking at $52.95 a month. Taxes are going to be more. Insurance is more. Gardening is similar. But with this one, we do have rental income of $2,800 a month. And when we take that into account, our monthly payment is $37.94. And that is a monthly savings of $662 a month. So by going with the duplex and renting out half, you're able to save $662 a month versus the single family home. You're also going to be making more through appreciation, and you're able to use more leverage on this property, on the duplex versus the single family home. And still your payment will be lower. Duplexes in general will produce more rent relative to their price than single family homes would. So this is really important if you plan to move out of this property at some point in the future and keep it as a rental. The duplex is going to be able to cover its own expenses much better. Also, something that people don't consider is that rents go up every year. So you have a fixed rate loan, and each year your tenant is going to be paying a larger and larger portion of your monthly costs. Your payment starting out is less than a single family, but it's going to be lower and lower the longer you hold this property and the more your rents go up. So I hope this was interesting to look at. If you're interested in comparing a duplex to a single family home, I'd love to help you. Feel free to reach out to me and I can do a similar comparison to this. But if you got any value out of this video, I would appreciate it if you drop me a like. And I'm trying to put these videos out frequently. So if you have another property that you'd like me to analyze, feel free to send it my way. And thanks so much for watching. Remember, invest well, trust Cody Charnell.